Now, given that John and Dave are currently building a very large Star Wars universe with a full slate of Star Wars TV shows and even movies, by the way, that they are beginning to work on, that's being led by Disney CEO Bob Iger, the Disney board, and a whole lot more, to really kind of succeed with the Star Wars franchise and to really make it thrive and survive, propelling it into a more positive path. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about John, George, and Dave is that they are working together as a trio to really kind of bring Star Wars back to its roots, to really bring it back to the basics. And it's not just about, revisiting some of the known characters. They too are also going to be creating brand new eras of the franchise while also maintaining new stories that will be connected to familiar faces. And that's a good way to balance things out. We already know that they are on a path to basically, reviving Star Wars Legends and how they can adapt that in live action form, and how that's going to be pretty much propelled into the Ahsoka Tano series as a very big starting point to adapt the Thrawn trilogy from the 1990s, but I digress. What's even all the more engaging is exactly what John and Dave are now up to in order to make things up for the fans about what fans missed out on the sequel trilogy movies and what Disney really also made a big mistake with. So, as you all know, one of the biggest problems with the sequels is that we never got to see Luke, Han, and Leia together again in one sitting. We never got to see them have a nice reunion as their older selves, and basically now John and Dave are doing something very incredible that's going to turn things around. Now, with Disney and Lucasfilm getting ready to announce a full slate of Star Wars projects by this year's Celebration and D23 event, they also have more surprises coming that in the early stages, of course. Now, with that being said, it's noted that as of right now, Disney is planning to create a limited Han, Luke, and Leia series that will feature new revolutionary deepfake technology that will be considered a post-Return of the Jedi series that will fill in the gaps in between Return of the Jedi and the Mandalorian show, and is set to focus on the beginning stages of the remnants of the Empire and Rebellion, along with Luke Skywalker beginning his road as a Jedi Master. Now, the series is set to bring Luke, Han, and Leia back together again in various ways in a reunion style, and is being led by John and Dave. And though this is more of a distant project in the works that just got greenlit last week, it's something that ILM is very excited to begin working on right now. Now, it's not just going to be about Luke, Han, and Leia, it'll also feature remnants of the Empire and their story, the story of Thrawn and his rising, as well as the remnants of the Rebellion and more. Based on what Favreau and Filoni's notes consist of, the stories will be divided into 3 different plots for each character. Harrison Ford, surprisingly, has been approached to provide his return as Han Solo, and though this is said to have been a very hard thing to obtain, with Ford refusing to actually come back, this is actually said to give Disney a backup plan to use voice synthesizer technology along with deepfake tech over using another actor's face that can mimic Harrison Ford. So let me just stop right here for a second. Now, Harrison Ford has made it very clear over the years that he has a lot of problems with, the character of Han Solo, and he's not really all that enthusiastic about the character. If you guys go ahead and look deeply at his past work, he seems more enthusiastic over Indiana Jones instead of Han Solo. For some reason, we're not quite sure. A lot of it had to do with the fact that he wanted Han to die earlier on in the originals, and there's been a lot of talk that that's exactly why he signed on for The Force Awakens, because he knew that they were going to finally kill off his character. And that's why it's so hard to obtain Harrison Ford, is that he just doesn't want his character to basically, be alive for some reason. I don't know why. There's some kind of thing going on there that fans may never know. And I think that's also why he came back for Rise of Skywalker, which that too was actually quite a bit of an obstacle, but he eventually agreed because he later learned that it was just a vision. His character remained dead, he wasn't coming back. So Ford said, yeah, let's do it. So this is going to be something that I think won't and will not feature Harrison Ford. I don't know if they're really going to get him to come on this project. That's going to be a very tough one. But that's their backup plan, is to use this new revolutionary deepfake tech and this new voice synthesizer technology that can be done in real time. That's going to be very flawless to the point where you really can't tell if it's Harrison Ford himself or if it's an actual deepfake. So there's a lot of things going into this because, like I said before, it's not just a Luke, Han, and Leia oriented story. They will be the main characters, yes, but there will be side stories in there featuring the Empire and the Rebellion, stuff like that. Basically, this is going to be an actual sequel, literally speaking, to Return of the Jedi, picking up days to weeks after the events of those films, maybe even months. So, on top of this is where things begin to get a little bit more involved, is that Leia is set to be recreated very much like in Rogue One from scratch, and Luke will be done in a very perfected way that was used, much like in Book of Boba Fett, except enhanced. Mark Hamill is set to return as Luke Skywalker by use of his revolutionary technology that will be applied in the Luke, Han, and Leia series that John and Dave are slowly putting together, that they plan to make into a 10-part series that will adapt some stories from the Thrawn books as well. Now, again, I think that this is something that the fans deserve, something that fans have been wanting for a very long time now, and if they can get this done correctly, so be it, you know? That's all that matters. But it's going to take a lot of time, it's going to take a lot of effort on their part, it's going to take a lot of, a big work ethic, to be honest. It's going to take a lot of that. A lot of time and patience. These types of things need to be done in a very unique and perfected way. If you make one little mistake on a series that's going to be so substantial like this, then you're going to have a lot of angry fans, and you don't want to do that. So that's why it's considered a more distant project. It's most likely, we're not quite sure, by the way, when it's coming out, but they are planning to get this thing out by the mid-2020s. That's all we really know. That could be 2026 or 27 for all we know, guys. So, in the meantime, up until 2025 and 26, we have a full slate of Star Wars shows that are being slowly announced every single year in multiple ways, mainly at Celebration and D23 events each year. So, that's another thing to look forward to. I think that if they can get Ford to come back, that'll be great. That'll make things even better, a little bit more perfected, so to speak, where it will be 100% flawless, but this new tech that's being created by ILM is said to be near flawless already. That's going to not only expand or, enhance the way that Luke Skywalker is done, like how he was in Book of Boba Fett, except better, but it's also going to be done better through the voice synthesizer technology as well. Just be aware about that. So there's a lot of things coming out of this. I'm very excited to see, what John and Dave are about to announce this year and next, and where this is also going to lead. So anyways, guys, fill me in below in the comments what you guys have to say about all of this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.